And we are back, and always great to head down to Baton Rouge on this Monday after the final regular season weekend to say hello to Coach Brian Kelly. Coach, good afternoon. Congratulations on wrapping the season up in high style.
Yeah, it was good to finish the season the right way. Two wins, both at Tiger Stadium, 19-2 over the last 3 years. It's a good way to finish, certainly after a disappointing three-game losing streak. I love the way our guys battled back and, against the stingy Oklahoma team on defense, finding, some explosive plays. It was a great way to finish.
When it's always, I'm sure, weird on the Monday after. Not that you can kick your feet up, but we're in the middle of recruiting in the portal, and it's probably mass chaos. But is there? Do you when do you get reflective? Because you have to look back on the season and do a lot of self-analysis.
Well, you're doing it simultaneously. Like we're doing essentially, we're looking at our roster, we're looking at, our staff, we're looking at everything right now. So it's almost reflective as you're going through the entire program. What are the things that you did well? What are the things you need to do better? And what did you learn through this entire season? So I think, Paul, at the same time, while you're going through your roster and your staff and all the things that went through the season, you're kind of doing it at the same time. So, we began that process this morning, meeting with the key members of my staff that will have input in our roster, and we kind of went through those things this morning.
And help us understand a week like this when it is chaotic. There's so much happening. How I know you have a lot of tentacles, but how does your staff keep up with the chaos of not only National Signing Day but the portal especially?
Yeah, so the model that we have is I have a general manager who is keeping tabs on the portal. I have a recruiting office that is staying in touch with our freshmen and making sure that we're closing out here with signing day coming on. Certainly I have player dev and player development that are keeping an eye on what our players might be thinking relative to the NFL, and we've got a lot of balls up in the air at one time this week. So there's probably four different elements of the staff that we're collaborating with every minute of the day as we go through this week and leading into signing day.
Coach, I know you had a lot of things to say after the game and in your post game reflections. One of them you talked about the future, which you seem very, very upbeat about. I think we'd all like to hear your thoughts on what's next for the Tigers.
Well, I think first and foremost, we had 21 freshmen that were on our travel team. We played five freshmen against Oklahoma on Saturday night on defense, and we'll have a number of our key players returning. And so, when you know that you had back-to-back recruiting classes that have been ranked in the top five in the country, when you know that you're going to be active in the transfer portal, and that's a part of what is going to shape up your roster, you know what it's going to look like. You know that you came within, three games that you had a chance to win. You know how close you are. This isn't a dream, and you're not just being jaded by, the bias that you have for your program. You know what it looks like, and so we know the improvements we need to make, both as coaches and as players. And we know what we have coming back. So we're pretty excited about what the future is for LSU football. It's a younger foundation and one that will be complemented with some players out of the portal. So with that combination, I'm pretty excited about what it looks like for LSU football moving forward.
Coach, unrelated to what happened in Tiger Stadium Saturday night, I would like to get your overall thoughts as one of the leaders in college football and one of the people that we consider among the very elite coaches. This thing that happened Saturday, we saw it in Columbus, we saw it elsewhere, really a number of places, this flag planting that now has become a national outcry. I realize there are a lot of different ways to view it while you were preparing for your game, but by now I'm sure you've seen the video. And what do you think about all this?
Well, I guess I'm old school, and I just feel like you beat somebody on the road. You respect the opposition, and you respect them by you play the game, you play it the right way. You win the game, you shake their hand, and you move on. I think it's disrespectful to do something like that, and that's just I'm just being honest. That's just me. I just never played the game that way. I'm not a guy that's going to score late and throw the football. I'm going to take a knee and end the game. And people do things based upon who they are and their personality and what they want to do. I get that. I'm just speaking. You asked me a question. I'm just giving you my honest reply, and that I think you respect your opponent. You don't give them any quarter, and you don't ask for any quarter. You go and play, and you play hard. But when the game's over, I think you respect your opponent, and that's just the way I feel about it.
No, I think that's a really intelligent way to look at it. One last question overall, and you know this narrative, you've seen it, you've lived it in the past, and you sat there on Selection Sunday at Notre Dame, and obviously you're pretty close. You were pretty close to it a couple of years ago at LSU, but this narrative is now somewhat centered on three SEC schools who all believe they have a right to get in. It's interesting that Ole Miss, Alabama, and of course South Carolina, you beat two of those schools, and you played the other one as well. I know you're not looking to get in the middle of a controversy, but we would like your thoughts on what that committee is looking at, especially in regard to the whole landscape, but in particular the SEC schools.
Well, I think I went on record earlier in the season saying that this is where it's going to be difficult this year, because I don't know that the walking orders of the committee are going to be quite right, because you're going to have teams that are going to have tougher strength of schedules and have better football teams, and they may get left out. More wins doesn't mean that you're a better football team. And I think basketball kind of went through this, and they figured out strength of schedule is really the best indicator. That's why they use an RPI. That's why they use that and rely on it heavily to make decisions on who's in the tournament and who's not in the tournament. We see that every year, right? We always talk about some of the non-power teams winning 32 games or 28 games and not getting in. It's because of the strength of schedule, and I think that that's going to be the case this year. And there's going to be a hue and cry that will be real, that some teams get left out because they didn't have one extra win. And I think it's wrong. And I think there'll be an adjustment, and I think that adjustment will take place next year.
Coach, before you go, I know you mentioned a number of people that are critical to your personnel there. We also saw this on Saturday night. Somebody we know very well, Michael Bonnet, honored after having spent 25 years as the communication director, part of many, many Heismans, which you saw recently, and national championships. And people like that don't get a lot of attention, but they are critical to the overall inner workings of a program.
Yeah, he's been amazing for me. He was here on day one for me and helping me through the transition and learning the process here at LSU. And 25 years in communications and media relations. I think that's more like 100 and 150 years. It's like dog years. He's just done an incredible job, and wouldn't be able to get through it without him. And a well-deserved recognition. Him and his family were recognized in Tiger Stadium, and deservingly so.
Well, speaking of recognition, we want to thank you for what has been another amazing year, you sharing your time on these Mondays, and we'll see you soon, I hope. But we do especially want to thank you for taking the effort to be with us every week.
Thanks, Paul. Thanks for having me on. Look forward to seeing you soon.
Can't wait. Thank you. Brian Kelly joining us from Baton Rouge as we take a short break.